Self-defense is an integral part of martial arts. For this, we divide the self-defense into two groups. The first is breakaways, the second is the self-defense moves. The breakaways are to be instructed to white belts, but everybody is to do them through their gradings. The breakaways consist of 4 moves. The first move is the walk away. The walk away requires the thumb to turn towards your own belly button and then to pivot your legs, your body, so that your elbow goes to the elbow of the attacker. That will release the grip through the thumb, forefinger area and step away and behind. The second breakaway is called the high five. From here, I circle my hand around until I have effected a wrist lock and a thumb breakaway. From this point here, I will push my palm towards the attacker's shoulder, further making it hard for the attacker to continue his grip, and then step back. The third breakaway is called the radial assist. The radial assist involves me stepping backwards, pulling the attacker with me. My free hand comes up, and from this point, the free hand strikes down onto the weak bone of the index finger and the joint of the thumb. At the same time, I pull my held hand back. First motion is there, second motion pulling back. Done simultaneously, pain arrives for the attacker and the fact that their hand is now very sore. Freedom for me as I can release. For training purposes, do not attack with the fist, attack with the open palm. The fourth attack is called the hammer fist breakaway. From here, the attacker is either pulling or pushing in a straight line. I wish to move that emphasis to the side by stepping sideways into a nice horse riding stance. Very good self-defense stance. At the same time as moving towards that horse riding stance, I will hammer fist again on top of that weak bone that goes to the index finger, or into the joint in between where the thumb and index finger meet. Strike, hammer fist. I can use the bony part of my wrist, which is far more effective, or I can use the hammer fist. For training purposes, again, we use open palm. Yellow tip grading self-defense. The first movement involves an inside circular motion with push to chest. Grabbed by the opponent, from here I drop down and sweep inside. Sweep inside with my hand, pushing over the top of the opponent's shoulders while pushing the chest, effecting breakaway. I'm going to end up over the top of the shoulder, okay? Do it again. Yellow tip self-defense. The first motion is circular motion inside, stepping forward, pushing over the top of the opponent's shoulder, simultaneous with palm pressed to the chest. I step forward and up and over. releasing over the top of the shoulder, pushing the opponent's chest at the same time, effecting release. The second movement for yellow tips involves more aggressive attack by the opponent. So it's a stronger grip, harder to move. This time I form a triangle with my hands and my arms and step over and inside onto the elbow. Bring the wrist over the top of the opponent's wrist. From here, it pulls the opponent forward. The opponent will attempt to pull their arm back. At the same time, I spin my body and strike with my elbows. Hey! Yellow belt self-defense. The first involves two-hand grab, the second involves cross-hand grab. The two-hand grab, there are two methods of getting out of this grab. The first is elbow strikes, the second is carotid strike. When my opponent has grabbed my arm with two hands, take the first hand, go onto the fist, step in, strike with the elbow, lift up. The opponent is finding it very hard to hold from this point, and that it's a very uncomfortable hold. Keep driving up with the legs, strike, and then strike over with the elbow. If my opponent is very large, the second form of getting out of this is to counter grab with the grabbed arm. Take two fingers, very strong two fingers, and pull the opponent while striking into the neck region and down inside the rib cage. When we strike for this, we want to strike into the neck and push down until they have an effect on the voice. The second of the yellow belt movements is cross-hand grab. Cross-hand grab means that it is right arm for right arm. Same side grab as left arm, right arm. Cross-hand grab from here. The first thing that my opponent is attempting to do by grabbing me is to line me up for the punch from the other fist. That's not a good thing. So I wish to step back. When I step back, I use circular motion, bringing my hand up to counter grab my opponent. From this point, the triceps nerve is now exposed. I bring my arm up, either as knife hand strike or fist strike, and strike down onto that upper arm. While holding this arm up, do not go down with the opponent. Hold this arm up, push the opponent down. Green tip self-defense. This involves a two-handed grab from the chest, two-handed grab from the back. The first is two-handed grab, chest. Opponent comes forward, grabs across the chest, either lapels or below the shoulders. My option here is, first I wish to offset my opponent. I do not want them being able to hold me straight. I want one arm longer than the other. So I will step, making one arm longer than the other. The opposite hand, I've stepped back with this leg, the opposite hand will come to the fist. My free hand holds both those together, and from here I'm going to step back again, affecting elbow to elbow lock. Grab comes on, 1, 2, 3. The second self-defense move involves being attacked from behind and grabbed. Using the same principle as before, I want one arm longer than the other. Step forward. The inside arm will sweep up now and come over, creating a nice elbow joint, nice right angle triangle here with my holding arm. And then if the person's very big, grab the same arm or just step around, pivoting around, pressure on the arm, push back with the knee, locking the arm. Green belt self-defense. The two green belt self-defense moves involve rear attack chokes using headlock form. The first will involve taking your opponent to the ground. The second will involve immobilizing your opponent with a secondary hold. The first thing to notice with the headlock is there's two forms of headlock. The first is elbow forward, the second is forearm straight. This breakaway is for elbow forward. First thing we wish to do here is secure our airway, ensure that we can breathe. Next, we need to distract our attacker, and we do that with elbow strike to the guts, then elbow strike or forearm to the groin, commonly known as guts and nuts. From the strike to the groin, step behind your opponent, changing feet, and from here, just hold on to the opponent with the right hand while sweeping the left hand. Step away. The next method involves the more dangerous forearm across the neck. You can immediately hear the change in my voice as things get more constricted. You must protect the airway. Two hands straight up in front of the body, pulling the arm as much as you can to free your trachea. From here, my best friend is the ground. I must drop down. My opponent must come over my body, lengthening his body, pulling him off the ground, or just dropping down. From this point, I will step sideways and backwards, popping through the hole, up, hand comes, hold. Holding on to the opponent, drop down, step backwards, through the hole, holding the opponent. 1, 2. This is a painful way to get out of a headlock. Your ears will get hurt, but it's better than having your airway cut off. Blue tip grading for self-defense. The two attacks here involve front-on choke grabs. First choke grab is single hand. What I want to do here is I want to preserve the airway. I must get the thumb down inside the gap between the index finger and the thumb. Grab my opponent across the top of the palm, the back of the palm, so the knuckles are all sitting in a line. From here, free hand comes up, strikes into the elbow joint inside, strikes in and pushes down. I drop into a horse riding stance at the same time in order to increase the power of the strike. From here, my hand rolls over, grabs the elbow, turns the elbow over. The hand that was on my neck at the time slips off into a Z or goose grip. From here, push up. Push up with the palm of the holding hand, push down with the palm of the elbow hand. Very painful. The second choke is a two-hand choke. What we're attempting to do here is just dislodge our opponent as best we can. From this point, I wish to distract my opponent. I can do that either by kicking to the shin or double knife hand to the chest, whichever is closest. From that point, having done the distraction, two hands between the arms, reaching behind the back. It immediately breaks my opponent's hold. From this point, grab the base of the skull, not the top, the base of the skull, and either drive your knee through the groin or through the face. Stepping back, release. Self-defense for blue belts. This involves two punches, both crosses, right hand cross. First defense is very much like senior arranged sparring, except I'm blocking with the right hand this time. Front kick to the rib cage, landing behind my opponent, and from here bringing my right arm and pushing back with my right hip to effect a throw. The second involves stepping inside. From this point here, facial massage or punch, the choice is yours. The arm then retracts back and comes underneath, holding the attacker's arm up. Wrap that attacking arm around and walk around your opponent. Do not try and walk your opponent around you. Walk around your opponent, hand to the scapula, lift and drop. So where hand is coming to the scapula, the held arm is in your left hand, pull up, push down. Hey! Red tip self-defense moves. This involves defense against jab and defense against hook. For defense against jab, there is two forms. The first is closed stance. The second is open stance. Open stance means our chests are facing the same way. Closed stance means our chests are facing different directions. From here, the jab will be led out by the lead arm of the opponent. All we need to do is to ensure that the jab misses. So just open palm, push to the side. From here, step around, exposing all the back, grab the back of the opponent's uniform, or in this case, a beautiful piece of hair, and pull down while sweeping the back of a leg. The second involves open stance. So again, hands open, defending the face. The jab comes through, block. From here I can't really get in because I've used my lead hand to block. So I must pivot and strike with the elbow. Jab comes in, pivot, strike with the elbow, step, strike with a side kick. The next defense is defense against the hook or roundhouse or king hit. They are aiming for the side of the head. So it is going to have a trajectory of coming around from the outside. The best defense for this is to step inside the swing, inside the arm. And when the swing comes through, double knife hand block. Just get the arms up in front of the head, protecting the head. From here, facial massage or elbow strike, 1 or 2, but ending with the arm over the top. Drop your knees into horse riding stance so that the full weight of your body comes down on the opponent's neck. From that point, when you drop down, effect a headlock while still holding the arm. From here, if my opponent has any fight left in him or has friends, I step backwards, affecting very excruciating pain on my opponent. Or I lift the arm up, which is doing far more damage. Red belt self-defense. This brings in the first attacks with knives. Please be aware that if you go into a fight with a knife, expect to be stuck. It is just part of the game. First defense is mugging. So the person has made it this far. They are holding something against my throat. This is the arm holding the weapon. This is the arm I must move away from as best I can. Opposite hand comes up, just like in the shoulder grab. Back on there. Made it this far. The right arm comes up, the opposite arm comes up and secures the hand against the chest. We do not want this hand moving. If it cannot move, it cannot cut. The free hand now comes up and secures both hands to the chest. From here we're going to effect a elbow to elbow lock like we did in the self-defense number 5. Turning, blocking, keeping against the chest, turning away from the blade, putting excruciating pain on our opponent by elbow to elbow lock and also wrist lock. We should, at this point, remove the knife from our opponent's hand. We do not want to be letting them go while they are still holding the knife. The second attack is an overhead attack. So the point of the knife is coming down on top of my body. First thing I must do here is block. The second I must do is move away from the line of the knife. So moving away from the line of the knife just in case the block misses. The block I'm going to use here is an X block, cross block, double security. Not just one arm, both arms. but then at the same time moving to the side. As I sweep to the side, I can sweep the arm at the same time. Securing the arm here. From this point here, I can use any manner of takedowns. The one I prefer is just nice up. Armbar, pull forward to the floor. You may choose to use strikes, whatever it takes, your favourite move, in order to move your opponent on. At this point here, I will remove the knife from my opponent or finish my opponent, whichever one I choose to do first. Black tip self-defense. The first movement in this self-defense involves a slashing knife attack. In the corner. Slashing knife attack is where the attacker slashes one side, then to the other. They are slashing coming forward. What I want to do is I do not want the open slash. I do not want to attack. I do not want to try to defend this attack. There is too much movement in the wrist and the opponent can come up and down at any point. So I'm going to let this one go. The next attack is the return. The opponent really doesn't have any motion other than this motion because of the locking of the elbow and the locking of the wrist. This is the slash I will attack. Double knife hand block to the forearm. From this point here, grab the hand as per normal, but my free hand now will wrap over the upper arm. I will step and grab either my own arm or my uniform. I prefer my own arm. And from this point here, pull, drop your opponent to the floor, locking the arm, ensuring the elbow is hard against your body, locking the arm. And from here you get the choice of many different restraints. Over the top, simple break, elbow lock, wrist snap, as long as you secure that knife. The last attack is a straight thrusting attack. There are many ways to hold a knife, and it all depends on how you've been taught. Please be aware of people who will fight with the knife rear back. They tend to have been trained before. Anybody who fights lead arm, you can isolate the lead arm. You cannot isolate the rear arm. So be wary of these people when they thrust attack. With the thrust attack, we are going to expect to be cut. I'm going to thrust and push down. I wish to push it away from the midriff. The midriff is the most dangerous place to receive the attack. So it's just a nice, simple push down. I am defending myself as if this person is punching, because that's what the lead hand is telling me, that it is a fist fight. So therefore I'm defending as per a fist fight. So that when the knife comes forward, I can push down. From that push down there, push down, step forward, carotid strike with the forearm onto the base of the neck. You have a whole lot of nerves running down there, and you can stun your opponent with that strike as they come forward. It will drop them to the floor. And then from that point, you must finish your opponent in any manner of form. One, you must remove the knife. You must remove the opponent from the equation. They cannot be allowed to come up. For the purpose of this demonstration, I will not strike my oki. Hey! That concludes the self-defense for black belt. Shut up! Kunya!